Hello everybody, this is Naturalist James Anderson from the Marion County Park District. Hopefully you're all doing well, keeping safe. And I know it's been a little while, but I have decided to create a new series for the YouTube channel, our social media platforms, and call it Marion Green Acres. And in this new series, I want to explore some of the different green spaces that we have here in Marion County, Ohio. So we will be exploring a lot of the different parks, recreational areas. So we'll be exploring, of course, the county parks where I work at. We'll be exploring some of the city parks. We'll be exploring some of the different places like Paradise Nature Center, OSU Prairie, Beaver Wildlife Area, Big Island Wildlife Area, and so on and so forth. Because the purpose of this series is I want to get people to go out and explore their Marion County parks. And when I mention that all the time in my videos, I'm not just mentioning the parks that the park district is in charge of, but don't get me wrong, I love for you to check out those places, but I also want you to check out all the other places that you can go walking, biking, fishing, canoeing, kayaking, and other recreational opportunities. Because I just want to show that Marion County, Ohio just has a vast, numerous different places that we can enjoy in the outdoors. So within this series, again, we're going to be exploring different areas. So places like Marion Tallgras Trail, the Big Island Wildlife Area, those places are huge. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of split it up into different sections or categories or whatever you like to call it. Like for Tallgrass Trail, for example, we may explore maybe the first mile, or maybe just the lake section, or the Epsifel section, the DeCliff section, things like that, because I just feel that if I include all of Tallgrass Trail, it'll be a very long video. Some of you like that, but I know reading the whole algorithm thing, a lot of people like shorter videos, and they're more likely to watch these videos if it has a shorter time period. And places like Big Island, it's huge. There's a lot of acreage. So we may explore maybe a different section, maybe just a particular road for Big Island Wildlife Area. So just things like that. And I also want to mention that, we may revisit the same spots but different times of the year. So right now, we are in late summer / early fall of 2022. It is kind of early September. So I may come back here at the same time, or may come back in winter. I may come back in fall, because I just want to show that these areas may look obviously very different, since we do live in a deciduous area, so our trees will start changing within the season. So I just want to show all the beauty that our county has to offer. Now, once we're kind of done with this series, and this may be in a year or two, or maybe shorter, I don't know, I'm kind of up in the air, but I may explore different areas in Ohio. You can go out and explore, so maybe some state parks, maybe some different township parks, just things like that. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, please put in the comments below. In every episode I always mention that of where I should try out, but I just figure I should start with the Marion Tallgrass Trail. And in today's episode, we are just probably going to go probably within the first mile or so. So I hope you enjoy the video. So before we go on, here's just a little information, some history of the Marion Tallgrass Trail. The Marion Tallgrass Trail was the former Erie-Lackawanna Railroad corridor. The original railroad was laid in 1883, and the last train went through was in 1976. So here's a picture of the last train, and then here is a picture of the exact same location from 2011. Now, with negotiation with the railroad, in 2009, the Marion County Park District purchased the property and start building the parking lot and the Nature Center building, which is the trailhead of the Marion Tallgras Trail. Make sure to either before or after your adventure to stop at the shelter house and enjoy these picnic benches. What's nice about some of these benches, they are wheelchair accessible. And this was made by a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout project. And when you're visiting the trailhead, make sure to stop in our nature-themed playground. This playground was sponsored by the Creating Healthy Communities grant, and we'd like to thank SECA for the Community Service Project for installing this playground in. And also to check out the windmills in the background. Those are owned by Union Energy, but is to help power the Whirlpool plant, help to supply at least 33% of their power. On our parking lot, you'll notice all of these flowers in the middle of the lot, and this is just a representation of what Marion County used to look like a long time ago. Marion County was one of the 5 major prairie regions in the state of Ohio. Marion County was part of what's called the Sandusky Plains Prairie region. So we were very grateful to have this unique ecosystem in our state because most of Ohio was forested. So we get a lot of interesting open prairie land species of birds and other wildlife that inhabit our parks in around the Big Island wildlife area. And here's an information board from a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout project. It basically has a map of the Marion Tallgras Trail, driving directions of our other parks, and some other additional information. And of course, being a park, we do have some rules, and here's just a little list of rules, but basically we're just asking to be kind, be respectful. The park's only open from dawn to dusk. Please no motor vehicles, and also no horses, no alcohol, no hunting, just things like that. When you come visit the Marion Tallgras Trail, you will notice several interpretive signs. And this one right here is about the Marion Mammoth. Here, Naturalist James Anderson will explain a little bit more.
And right behind me, folks, now it's kind of hard to see, but way over there where those hills are, that used to be the city dump. Some of you might remember that if you were here prior in the 80s here in Marion County. And before it was the dump, the city employees were digging the hole to start the dump project, and they said, yeah, we found something, and they called Marion OSU, and OSU came out and said, yeah, that's something, all right. And City of Marion said, all right, we're going to give you 1 day to find what you want. After that, we got to continue our project. And you're probably saying, a day, that's not a lot of time. Well, we have to remember this was over 40 years ago, so this was in the 70s. So there wasn't a lot of rules or regulations to help with these kinds of projects, but I believe OSU was very grateful that they were given it that day. But within that day, they did find, quite a bit. They found the femur, sections of a tusk, and some neck vertebrae. And that's all they were able to find that day. And so, unfortunately, the rest is buried under hundreds of feet of trash. Now, when they first excavated the bones, they didn't know quite sure what it was. But once they got it back to OSU, they examined it and they said, oh yeah, this is a mammoth discovery. And you're like, wow, that's amazing, because what's really special is mammoths were actually not very common in Ohio. Mastodons were. You might be asking, what's the difference? Mastodons were smaller, less hairier, and ate more branches for trees. Most of Ohio was forested. But here in Marion County, we were a prairie region. And so mammoths are more grass eaters, and also they're bigger and hairier. So to say we had a mammoth discovery is really, really awesome. So our volunteer, Wayne Fowler, the guy who runs paleontology in the park, he created a fun saying, from presidents to mammoths, Marion County has it all. So it's pretty cool to say that. So if you like Ice Age, you know the main character Manny, you can tell your friends we had Manny's in Marion.
Make sure to get a cool drink from the drinking fountain. Also too, when you look on the other side, you'll see our adaptive bike shed. As of right now, it is not currently open, but hopefully if we hire the right person, this program will be available with people who have physical and mental disabilities. And then when you walk along the Marion Tallgras Trail, you may notice these birdhouses. These birdhouses were created by Boy Scouts, and they were designed for bluebirds, but we have other species that inhabit them, such as tree swallows and house wrens.
Here at the trailhead, here is our third interpretive sign, and this explains about the railroad. As we mentioned before, that this used to be the Erie-Lackawanna Railroad bed. Some of you probably remember what it used to look like, and some of you may have maybe worked on this rail line before. And as you can see, a lot of interesting history on here. One of my favorites, if you look through here, it talks about Nixon, when President Nixon, before he was president, when he was campaigning, he used this Lackawanna Railroad bed and traveled to say, hey, vote for me. And as you see, here his famous peace sign. Now, logistically, Marion was not the middle point when it came to the major railway that ran through Chicago to New York, but logistically it was. And so people from all over would visit Marion, Ohio. So as you can see, all the way down there past the windmills, I know you probably can't see it very well, but that is where the Union Station, and we'll show in a later clip of the trail mile markers of how many miles it was to the Union Station. But also the Huber factory, they would send tractors into different parts of the world or United States. And probably my most favorite picture is this one right here. As you can see, these two pictures are in the exact same location. This picture of the train was when the very last train was taken in 1976. And that bottom left picture is again the exact same area. So it shows how much of a difference has made over time. But, forgot to mention, this is the only of the phone booths that were left still standing. So get a little glimpse of it here. As you can see, this is where they would have the phone. Now, when I was told when the trail was first starting out, the original phone for this phone booth was in here, but as we were clearing the debris, making it more accessible, unfortunately somebody took it out. So, but yeah, if you ever get a chance, kind of look inside this old concrete phone booth. And you know, it's kind of funny telling kids about before the cell phone age on how we had to communicate with one another, and reason why we had to say how this was important to the rail line, because the rail conductors would see which trains were coming in and coming out, and obviously they didn't want to collide. So that's why it was important to know, hey, where is everybody at?
So now we're traveling to the first bridge of the Marion Tallgras Trail. And when you're looking out, you'll notice this body of water. This is not natural, this is man-made to help control the flooding, especially when we get a good rain. This side of Holland Road does typically like to flood over. Now, as we mentioned about the history, the original track was laid in 1883, but what I was told, the bridge was not installed until the 1940s. And as we mentioned earlier too, that the last train went through in 1976. So the bridge that we're on wasn't actually in operation for a very long time. So, but even though it was man-made, you still got a lot of interesting things. And I apologize, my dead cat on my microphone likes to pop out. So I had to do a little bit of editing on that. But yeah, you can see herons, turtles, frogs, all kinds of things. And when you walk along the Tallgrass Trail, you might get tired and you may come across these benches. Just like the birdhouses, these benches were Boy Scout projects, Eagle Scout projects, and they are sprawled all along the Marion Tallgrass Trail. And probably in the future, there'll be probably within every half mile, but we do have one within every mile. So if you're traveling and as we talked about the benches, something else you may come across are these little shelter houses. And this one was created by I believe the Marion Nazarene Church of Marion. We do have one out by past her road, and then we have one past the 203 parking lot of the Big Island Wildlife Area. And that one's my favorite, and I'll show you in future episodes because it's double-sided and get a beautiful view of the Big Island Wildlife Area. So now that we left the covered bench, now we're going to be probably visiting most everybody's favorite part of the Marion Tallgras Trail, the Marion Community Foundation Lake. We'll kind of explain that here shortly where it got its name from. But this is the only loop trail of Marion Tallgras Trail. As we mentioned to people that you got to walk one way and walk it back. So one of the unique wildlife that live out here at the lake is our beaver friends. Yes, our beaver friends are fun. They can be a little destructive, chewing down some of the trees and causing the lake to be higher than normal with water. But other than that, they're really fun. I highly recommend coming sunrise and sundown to visit our little friends.
Here we have is Marion Community Foundation Lake, or we shorten it down to Foundation Lake because the Marion Community Foundation have been a generous donor for making the Marion Tallgrass Trail possible. And also we had a lot of other donors as well. So here's our lovely observation dock. And for a later episode, we'll go into more detail and more exploration of the Marion Community Foundation Lake. But just want to show you that you have made it a half mile. So thanks for sticking with me, ladies and gentlemen. But the only thing I will say about the Marion Community Foundation Lake is this is 53 acres. And in the state of Ohio, to be considered a lake, the body of water has to be more than 50. Anything under 50 is technically a pond. So we pass it by 3 acres. And this is where you can go fishing, canoeing, and kayaking. Just please make sure if you're 16 and older, you do have a fishing license. And canoes and kayaks are registered under the Division of Parks and Watercraft. So we do have a canoe launch. I know it might be a little difficult to see clear where that gazebo is, if I can get in the picture. So clear where the gazebo is, there is the parking lot and there's the canoe launch, so it'll be easier access to get your canoes and kayaks into the lake. And it's only people powered, so no motorized boats. So we do allow surfing boards, paddle boards, anything again that's human operated. So
Make sure as you're walking through this section to be looking on your right because you'll see a lot of waterfowl, bald eagles, trumpeter swans, beavers, and much more. Now we're going to be heading up to the second bridge of the Marion Tallgras Trail.
congratulations, you have now made it 3/4 of a mile of the Marion Tallgras Trail. And this is the second bridge, or sometimes we like to call it, it's the Wildlife Bridge. And as you can see, oh my, it's quite luscious green. This is usually not overrun. This, I believe, is a nasty invasive called Primrose Willow. And last year it was just over there in that corner, and as you can see, it has overtaken. So looks like we will have to do some little maintenance on that. But when this is usually gone, usually this is a great place to observe turtles. And this is where I believe our beaver friends have moved to. Because the beaver friends used to be out in the middle of the lake, and we'll kind of explain that in a later episode. So, but yeah, I believe they're over there. And but they do cross under the bridge here. And they do go into the lake every once in a while. So, and on this side, you can usually see a lot of muskrats. And if you see muskrats, guess what you'll also see? You'll see quite a bit of mink. Mink love eating muskrats. So if you ever get time, just look out here and see whatever kinds of wildlife you can see. I forgot to mention, usually where those tall dead trees are standing, that's usually sometimes where the bald eagles like to perch.
Now that we left the second bridge, always keep your eye out for wildlife. You never know what you'll find. And we're just about to come up on the stop sign, and please make sure at every intersection to stop and look at both directions, and you'll be safe.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have made it a mile down the Marion Tallgras Trail. And we do have mile markage from here all the way to the Hardin County line. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Marion's County's Green Acres, or Marion the Green Acres. Let me know which one you like, or maybe a completely different name. So, like I said, this is kind of new, experimental. I've been really excited, been wanting to do it for quite some time, but from some different health issues to some technological issues, I just decided that, hey, everything's kind of doing better, so I said, why not? Let's continue up the series that I've always wanted to do. So, and as we mentioned at the beginning, again, like places here like Marion Tallgras Trail, we're definitely going to be splitting it up into different sections. Because again, if we do the entire trail, this would be probably a very long video. So, like we'll do Marion Community Foundation Lake section. Just places like that, and again, like places like Big Island, Killdeer, we'll definitely have to do multiple different episodes. So, all right, guys, well, have fun, be safe, but most of all, go out and explore your Marion County parks. I'm Naturalist James Anderson from the Marion County Park District, and you're watching the very first episode of Marion's Green Acres. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Marion County Park District. Also check out our other social media platforms, our Facebook pages. We have two Facebook pages, the Marion County Park District and the Marion Tallgrass Trail, and Instagram account. And we just joined the Twitter world. So look us up on Marion County Park District on there. And that is a great way to keep update of our upcoming events and activities. Enjoy.